I'd like to show you another rook endgame. And this is not only a very important position theoretically, but it also contains some absolutely beautiful ideas. So you might learn something and you'll be entertained as well. So stick around. Here we go. Now, you've seen the names there. I had this position as white against Anatoly Karpov. Yes, the Anatoly Karpov. Now, the circumstances of this game. This was played in a clock simultaneous display. Karpov was playing against 10 English juniors. And now, we were already fairly strong, so it was impressive that he took on this challenge. And he did brilliantly. I'll tell you more about what happened, his final score at the end. But I was 13 years old, and, well, frankly, I was just outplayed in this game. But I'd clung on, and to my enormous surprise, I reached this rook and pawn endgame where, well, I understood enough about rook endgames to know that even if I was just a pawn down, then actually I had pretty good drawing chances. So yeah, I kind of couldn't believe that I'd reached this far, but it's tricky. I've just played the rook across here. Karpov has these two pawns that are quite threatening. He played rook a2. So I'm getting well and truly squeezed here. The threat is to play e3 and to win this pawn. So I have to retreat the king, king f1. So that's pretty nasty. And now Karpov continued to squeeze f3, and that is a very nasty move to meet. And here, well, I understood already. I knew that I should be putting the king to the short side, generally in this kind of situation. But I can't play king g1 here. Simple tactic. Check. And e3, and one of those pawns goes through. If that's taken, then f2. I was very annoyed afterwards, I heard. And so I had to play king e1. And afterwards I overheard some people saying, oh yeah, kids, they don't know anything about endgames. He should put his king to the short side. King e1 is the only move in this position. There you go. Every position you have to look at the concrete details, and king e1 is correct. Karpov gave a check. I came back again. King e6. So he's waiting. And I waited as well. And now he realised, okay, he can't get anywhere with the king, so he played his rook across, threatening mate again. So king e1, again, normal, and rook c5. So this allows his king to advance. I've got to avoid the pawn endgame. King comes forward, rook d8, check, and rook f1. So it's getting to be quite a critical position. If my king comes forward, then check, and rook e2 picks up the f-pawn. So I have to keep checking. Check the king, check again. King comes in. Now, if I check again, then the king comes in and takes the pawn on f2, and that's that. But now, with the king cut off on the g file, then I can bring the king up the board. So this is the game. He gave a check, and I came to f4, and he played king h2. Now I just waited here, rook g7. Now this is a really important moment in the game, and black has two ways to try and make progress. Now Karpov played rook g1. I'll come back to that position. It's very important. Okay, over to you. How should white play in this position? Unfortunately, I got it wrong. And yeah, but this is an important moment. White can still draw this. I could still draw this position. I'll show you what happened, and then I'll come back. I gave a check. He took the pawn. King takes. Okay, I've moved my rook to the long side. I understood that much. But now check. Actually, that's inaccurate. I came back again. Sorry, he came back again. In fact, yeah, I could repeat the position with king e4, but then he just plays rook g8. I mean, he'd find that and then check the king away. In any case, I played rook a8, and after king g2, I resigned. That f pawn is going through. If check, for example, here, f2, the king is going to step away and the pawn goes through. It's a kind of Lucena position. But coming back to this position, instead of checking, the correct way to play is to move the rook to the long side. So king g2, king takes here. Now it's very similar to the game, but in this position, king f4, this is a draw. So this is absolutely not obvious, but watch what happens. Now, if the king steps this way, then the rook can still check, and you exchange and take here. Okay, so what about rook e1? Well, then just rook b3, and that picks up the pawn. Okay, so what about rook f1? Well, watch this. Rook b3. King g2. Now, it looks as though black is making progress here with f2 and so on. But watch this. This is absolutely wonderful. King g4. Now, if black waits, then white waits. Black gains nothing. So the only way for black to make progress here is to push the pawn. And now it's a draw by perpetual check. After this, check, check here. King cannot escape. So what a clever idea. So you have to find king f4, rook b3, and then king g4, and you wait for this pawn to advance, and then you can give a draw by perpetual check, a draw by repetition. Absolutely fantastic. And there's nothing that black can do in this position, as long as white just waits with the rook here. So that's how I could have drawn. Coming back to this position, I mentioned instead of rook g1 that Karpov played, in fact, there's another way that black can try and make progress, and that's rook e2. In fact, this is even trickier. And again, well, white has one way to make a draw. If white waits, for example, rook g8, black takes. And now a very important move, rook g2. This is winning. So the rook has to avoid the exchange. And let's say rook h8, king g3 protects the pawn. Rook here, the king comes in front. Rook g4, you check the king away, and then king g2, and the pawn goes home. So how does white draw after this move rook e2? Waiting doesn't work. Checking, king comes across and takes the pawn. Only one move draws. Rook g4. This is sensational. And here's the point. If rook takes pawn, king takes, and after rook g2, white can take the pawn here because on g4, the rook is protected by the king. In the other position on g8, the rook could just be taken, but on g4, it's protected. And in this position, if rook f1, king f3, king e3, and you can see the king is cut, it can't join in. That's the point. And yeah, the pawn is just lost in this position. So there we go. That's how I could have drawn against Karpov. Unfortunately, I lost. Almost got there. But yeah, somehow, you know, I was one of the last to finish, if not the last to finish. I can't really remember. And, you know, by that stage, the pressure was on. There's a big crowd, and yeah, I mean these moves are just too difficult, or at least they were for me at that age. Karpov scored 9.5 at half against 10 English juniors. Absolutely brilliant. I repeat, the kind of players that were playing: Nigel Short, Julian Hodgson, William Watson, well, myself, we all became grandmasters afterwards. We were all already pretty good, and there were others there that became IMs, and others who were, well, I would say equally talented as well. So Karpov was incredibly impressive. But, well, listen, I hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks for watching.